everyone. Hey, welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host, Tom Quee. I want to kick off, as I always do, by saying thank you so much to everyone that listens to the show, that subscribes. Please leave us a review on iTunes if you love this show. If you hate this show, leave some feedback on there, please. Go onto our Patreon as well, patreon.com/Battle Rap Resume. You want to listen to episodes before they come out. You want to help support kind of wider concerns of the show, expansion, etc. You just want to give back. You enjoy listening. We're on Twitter as well, or on YouTube. You know, all the various venues you can find us on. And today we're back with another Battle Rap Resume episode. Someone that I had on quite a while ago now, for like 8th birthday, building up to that. I had a great chat with himself and Innuendo. But now we're here to do the exploration proper. It's incredibly exciting international man of mystery in a certain sense. You know, crossing these boundaries so successfully, so compellingly. Dundee, what's going on, man?
How are you, Tom? Thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh man, it's good. It's good to have you back, man. Do you recall the Innuendo thing? That was pretty funny, actually. That chat.
I do. I think it came up in a memory or some shit the other day.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I had a bit of a listen. That was good fun. Very good fun.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously we'll get to that battle, which was a fantastic battle you had on Don't Flop. But I mean, I know in sort of battle rap history, verse tracker isn't necessarily to be trusted in a certain sense of setting a chronology. But your first battle apparently is versus Greeley, which I kind of understand. But it was on
which was on Don't Flop.
Yeah,
associated with Don't Flop. So it kind of came full circle. That was my first battle I did on Don't Flop, and ended up last year getting onto the English stage. But my bro Greeley, that's my best mate, man. He was running a league called Taz Battles down in Tassie. I'd been battling, like freestyle battling and stuff like that, since about 2003.
Right.
I've been a big fan of the a cappella format. Greeley had started up a league. He'd been trying to get me into it for a little while. I didn't take him up on it, and eventually I just went, fuck it, let's do it. And that was the start of it, bro. And I just haven't looked back, man. It's just been an instant passion that I absolutely love.
Yeah. I mean, what's great is discovering you know, when you made kind of this migration across and had all these great battles, going on your page, and oh god, he's battled so much, there's so much to get into, really, which is always really nice. And so 2010's the debut. Was there any sort of interest in you doing the WRCs for Australia, or?
I think it was talked about. Me and Greeley were maybe talking about it, but now at the time I was doing a fair bit of music. I was actually living in Melbourne, which is a little way away from where I live at the moment, Tasmania, where I'm born and bred. So I kept up with the WRCs. I used to watch them flat out. But yeah, that was my initial jump into a cappella battling. I've been a big fan. I've been watching Don't Flop for a long time. I was a big fan of O'Shea. Like, me and my friends used to, when O'Shea battles would drop, we'd have a couple beers and watch it and shit. That was just my lead into it, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously we're both familiar with Don't Flop and sort of how that begun and stuff. But what were obviously the Australian scene is big in its own sort of microcosm sort of way. What were your first experiences with battle rap? What were the first people you were watching, the leagues, etc.?
Well, we had a thing in Australia. I think it would have been around about like 2004 to 2006, we had this thing called Battle for Supremacy, which was the best in Australia versus the best in New Zealand kind of thing. They get, I think it was 8 blokes from Australia and 8 blokes from New Zealand. So that would have probably been my initial checking out Australian style of battles. And through that, I started to see, I saw 60 and Anecdote in the WRCs, and started catching up and getting into all that shit. So yeah.
And Don't Flop. How did you discover O'Shea, for example? Then.
Well, that was through Greeley as well, because
he
was he was the first one to kind of show me the WRC shit, and I instantly loved it. I was watching a bit of grind time stuff back then, and then Greeley started showing me this dude O'Shea like that. Back when I first watched it, I was just like, this dude's incredible. I really like his style. So I think that would have been my initial introduction to Don't Flop, and I just kept up with it. Like I always really loved the style in Don't Flop. I think it's a lot more similar to the Australian style, a lot more piss take, and not everyone's taking it so serious. So it really fit with me.
Yeah, and Greeley, who, you know, is your sort of tryout in a certain sense here on Don't Flop.
And call Anton a fag, but what does it prove? Honestly, dude, he's fucked way more hotties than you. Go name dropping a few on our dames, Grotty and Deuce. You got less talent in your whole body than Grotty's got in a boob. But hey, what happened between Johnny and you? What, that he cheated on Laws and he's not in your crew? You wanted the truth, it's my time to say so. Every time you see him, it's high fives and hey bro, you ain't dope, you ain't smooth, dude, that's honest. You got an ego so big you make Medusa look modest.
Greeley, as an entity, is a legend in himself, isn't he, in Australian
That's
battle
it.
rap?
He's over here, man. He was that dude over here for years. He's battled 360. He's battled Kerser. He's battled No Can Do back in the day.
Right.
He battled Unanimous a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So. He's my brother, you know what I mean? Like that's my dude. But I guess Greeley was like a mentor for me as well. Like he was always helping me out with it and shit. But yeah, Grill's the king. He stepped back from it these days. He doesn't really have the passion for it anymore. He's fully focused on his music and kind of on the grassroots level down here. A lot of the young dudes, he's helping them get their name out. So yeah, much love to my brother Greeley, man. Like I honestly do not think I'd be in the position I am today with battle rap if it wasn't for that dude. Like he's helped me out every step of the way and continues to.
Yeah, and you guys have teamed up a few times 2-on-2s, haven't you?
Just the one official one. You know, we've done plenty of drunken ones at after parties and shit like that. Did one in our hometown against Static and Prefix a couple years back. It ended up being a good little battle, but the thing is, me and him, because he was living in Melbourne at the time, I was back down in Tassie, so we hadn't caught up or gone through our bars like at all until the night before. We got on the piss the night before and just did a run through, and a majority of the stuff we did in that battle was freestyle, but it still came out as a pretty good battle.
Mm-hmm. And you know, you battle soon after really on Real Talk a lot. On the Real Talk Battle League. Talk to me about battling in general. So you've had a battle, it's came out on YouTube, you know, what are you a competitive sort of person? Did you want to just keep getting better? What was the drive?
At first it was just the enjoyment of it, you know what I mean? That getting, you know, spinning a bar and getting that instant reaction from people in the room, you know, you kind of catch the bug for it. I think for probably the first couple years I was doing it, like back then, like my early to mid 20s, I was a bit of a hectic cunt. Like I was, you know, getting on the piss a lot and getting into drugs a bit too much. So battle rap at the time wasn't like my main focus, but I still loved it. It probably took me a couple of years till I really started taking it seriously and wanted to be considered, you know, one of the best, I guess. So it was probably around maybe 2012 that I really stepped it up and went, nah, it's time to take this shit seriously.
Wow, because I mean, up until that point, there's a lot of battles in 2011 especially.
I did heaps of battles back in the day and was not picky about my opponents, was not picky about my own material. So I do have a lot of battles out there, but a lot of my early stuff is nothing special compared to the shit I'm doing today. It's very, very basic style stuff.
And it's like almost emblematic of the sort of, I don't want to say secondhand, but sort of, you know, Australia, the scene's quite smaller, so there's a lot of imprints that you're battling on, you know, Grind Time Now Australia, Don't Flop.
That's the thing in Australia, like there's rarely been a solid league. Like you've got Don't Flop that's always been there in the UK. You've got King the Dot in Canada that's always been there. Whereas there's been more leagues than there is battlers sometimes. Like I've battled on, I think 7 or 8 different leagues in Australia alone. So I think the one that it has stuck around and is Real Talk Battle League. They've stuck around and kept with it. But I mean, we've had one outs. We had Grind Time.
Is there a Fremantle Battle League? Isn't that one?
Yeah, FBL, Fremantle Battle League. They're still going. That's the one that Greeley battled Unanimous on. Yeah. Caustic battled Asthmatic, a local dude from over there. So they're a good little league, Fremantle Battle League.
And talk to me about Grind Time Australia. Like, what were your experiences with that? It was quite an ambitious project for them to sort of open shop there. It
was. It kind of started off. Got Beef was one of the first big leagues in Australia. They had they had Justice and 360 versus Thesaurus and Madness and a lot of other big battles. Now the bloke who ran Got Beef was a guy called Decoy. I know a few of you English guys have probably heard the name. Yeah. A weird, seedy dude that fucking rubs people up the wrong way, literally sometimes. And running the league with Decoy, but doing most of the work for him was like Greeley and a couple of other mates of mine. And it was around about, I think, December 2010, the Lush One came over to host the battle.
Right.
And when he came over, the boys started talking to him about they're not happy with Decoy, they're not happy with Got Beef. So they ended up starting Grind Time Australia. Which was the shit in Australia for a bit. Like, it had Kerser and 360 battled on it, which was a massive battle. It's got millions of views. It's the biggest battle that's ever happened in Australia. And through partly to do with what happened with Grind Time in general, how it kind of fell apart, that did affect Grind Time Australia. Also, the way Grind Time Australia was run in the end, a few people weren't happy with it, so that kind of just died in the arse. And But there was some monumental events from Grind Time Australia, like, absolutely.
And, you know, around this time as well, kind of, you know, admittedly in your sort of fallow period, this sort of 2011, this is in January 2011, your most viewed battle, I mean, forgive me, Dundee, because, I mean, you know, certain music stars are internationally popular, certain ones are just kind of big in their country. Kerser, who you battled, for any kind of British American listeners, he's a huge star in Australia, right?
He's massive. Like, he's not only probably one of, you know, him and 360 would be the top two biggest battle rappers in Australia. But we have the crossover here that those two are probably the top two biggest rappers in Australia as well in their own right. The thing with Kerser, though, he's just a dude that's got a crazy work ethic. He's always been onto his social media and stuff like that, and he did it all off his own back. He does it. The radios don't play him over here and stuff, but he sells out shows all around the country and shit. Now, when I battled him, it was just another battle back then for me, and he hadn't really popped off yet. He had a bit of fame, but it hadn't really popped off for him back then. So I never imagined that battle would be getting hundreds of thousands of views like it did. So, but yeah, like, Kerser he's the king out here, you know, like.
I mean, fat chance, Keynote, are you taking a piss, bro? Violence against women, Australia says no. He keeps calling out pussies, thinking the act's tough. See a group of metros convinced I'll attack ya. See a kid in face paint, you think it'll stab ya. Kick the little cunt like, ABK bitch, now back up!
Not everyone fucks with his music, but you cannot front on the dude's hustle. Like, he's a self-made king for sure.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting kind of going on his Wikipedia page and just being like, oh my god, this guy is like a, you know, I was so ignorant really of his back catalog. One of his album titles caught my eye, Dundee, Scott, which is
sick cunt out there.
Yes, sickest cunt out there is the third studio album by Kerser on Obese Records.
So for any English dudes that don't get the references on it, like, in Australia, a sick cunt or a mad cunt is good.
Yeah.
Or like a shit cunt or a dog cunt is bad. Because like, dog in Australia is what you call a rat or a snitch somewhere else. So if you're calling someone a dog cunt, then sick cunt is like the highest thing you can call someone over here. It's an absolute compliment to call someone a sick cunt or a mad cunt.
And the battle's got 244,000 views at the time of us recording this, so, you know, got some...
Which is great. But that's Kerser, man. He's got his fan base is crazy. It's almost like a cult or some shit. Like, you go to his shows, it's fucking religion to some people, that, you know, Kerser is their life. So he's got many loyal fans.
Right.
I've still, for years after that battle, I'd still, you know, every couple of months get randomly hit up by Kerser fans going, "Hey, fucking killed you, Dundee." Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And around this time as well, you team up for the first time 2-on-2 with Fluence. Haven't seen this battle, but talk us through it. You battled Gabby and Lulu.
Yeah, well, Fluence was a dude. I battled him the first time I went to Real Talk. We ended up becoming quite good mates. I lived with him for a bit. Now, he about 2 weeks before the battle happened, I was doing another battle on the event, and he hit me up and said, "Let's battle these two chicks. We'll you know." And I at the time knew nothing about them. Got a little before the battle, got a little bit too off my head on certain things, so I was a bit out of it. And Gabby and Lulu were dope. If you watch the battle, they had wicked freestyles, and like, in my eyes, they fucking killed us, man. We just weren't ready for it. So that's one sometimes I try to forget, is the Gabby and Lulu battle.
Apologies for bringing that up. So I will. Sure. It's got 4,000 views, so some people have checked it out there. I mean, what is your? Are you a views guy, Dundee? Do you care about that or?
Nah, not at all, bro. No. Like, I mean, early on, I guess I kind of did in some senses, but for me, it's just a benefit that people are checking out my shit. But whether I was getting 100 views or 100,000 views, I'd still be doing this shit. So it doesn't bother me. I mean, views have never been like in Australia, that they're not like they are in other countries. You know what I mean? So has never been a big thing for me, really. Yeah.
No, I mean, and you definitely get the recognition you deserve later on. One of the battles that I was just going through on Verse Track are just sort of a few things I wanted to talk about. This just caught my eye purely because it features you and Mike Pipes, and the thumbnail is you in front of this giant festival crowd.
That was a big day out, which was one of the biggest festivals in Australia.
Yeah.
On one of the smallest stages, that was through Grind Time Australia. They managed to get a hook up to put a few battles in between one of the sets on this big stage. So yeah, we rocked out and did this battle, but majority of the people in the crowd were just looking at us like, what the fuck is this shit? What are these cunts doing? So it was good. It was good fun, but at the same time, you could tell there was a lot of people there that weren't really feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge crowd. If I was to put it into sort of Anglo terms, it's like a John Peel stage at Glastonbury. It's like a classic sort of tent festival kind of thing.
Let's fuck you with your emo rap shit. Your mouth probably looks like Guido Haxes. Oh, you spastic, raggedy bastard. Your mother was a sheep and your dad was a farmer. Oh.
Massive people there, hot day. Greeley introducing the battle. Introduces the sponsors. Dick Snowboards apparently is one of the sponsors that he.
Fixed Skateboards. They're a electric skateboard company that used to sponsor Grind Time.
All right.
They're actually cool little things. They're these little motorized skateboards. They're fucking good fun.
Mike Pipes throwing out a free T-shirt as he came on stage. Did you think, that's pretty good marketing, or?
I don't quite remember what I was thinking that battle. It was such a fun. I remember that it was like. I think it was about a 40-degree day or something like that. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck that is. That's Celsius, not in Fahrenheit. Yeah. But I was, because I'm from Tasmania, which is a fairly cold climate. This battle was in Melbourne, and it was a scorching hot day, so I was just sweating my dick off the whole time, bro.
And it kind of, he begins Mike Pipes, and I don't know if you remember, he kind of does struggle on the first round. The beat, sort of, him and the beat aren't quite synced up, and the crowd aren't really hyped.
It didn't really click. He had a few lines in that battle, but a lot of it didn't click. Like in his third round, he pretty much started singing at me.
Yeah.
An interesting tactic, and I just managed to flip it, and the crowd rocked with me on it. So yeah, but it was an experience. It was a strange battle, but it's definitely one I'll remember.
Yeah, I mean, I had to see it because of the thumbnail, as I say, and I urge people to see it. It's only like a 10-minute thing, all in all, really, in front of this on the beats. You definitely run it stronger in your first. Someone in the comments actually says, I was there, I couldn't hear a thing in the crowd. So
that's it. There was a lot of people looking at us, just like, what the fuck is going on stage? We have no idea. It was alien to them.
Yeah, and you still have the lines here that come out. Your mother was sheep and your dad was a farmer.
Well, that's the big thing. Like Australia, I guess it'd be like you guys and Welsh people. You guys call Welsh people sheep shaggers. We call New Zealanders sheep shaggers. So that's just like a running joke over here.
Rugby league is shit, you say? So that was
because New Zealand's a big rugby country, whereas Australia, the northern states play rugby, but the biggest kind of game in Australia is called AFL football, which is kind of like Gaelic football. I'm not sure if you've seen that before. So it's like a mix between like rugby, football, basketball, but like with full contact. It's quite a hard game.
All right. In your second, you're going to slap this amateur. Why the fuck you look like a manga character?
Okay, I think that was to do with his hair, mate.
It was, he sort of had a sort of bright coloured and sort of, definitely had something going on there. But it was good, and the crowd, most importantly, they react to you. It's like King of the Ronalds rules, whoever cheers loud enough, and they love you more, man.
Yeah, that's it, bro, that's it.
It was a good feeling, I guess.
Yeah, it was a crazy feeling, and we ended up at this festival, being backstage with all these famous bands around us and shit, and we're just like these fucking dropkick battle rappers that no one knew, and we were there drinking all their riders. It was quite good fun.
Were there any bands you remember seeing, or?
I can't remember who it was exactly.
Right.
Like Australian bands, I think.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who it was, but there was a few quite well-known bands there.
And you continue on. Really, you always battled. It seems there's been sort of slower periods, but you never really taken.
Sometimes it drops off for a bit, but I've always kept pretty constant with it. Like I've really got the bug for it. When I don't battle, sometimes I kind of for my family's sake, or to spend time with my missus or work, and I try and force myself not to take battles, but within a month or two, I just get the hunger again, and I'm hitting up Lee's going, come on, book me, let's get it happening. I can't help it.
And, is it fair to say that the bigger phase of your career so far in battling came around this sort of 2014 period with Don't Flop? Those were the jumping off points?
There's been different jumping off points, I suppose. Like, I think 2012, a few of my grind time battles got quite big views. There's some, I think there's one that got about 60,000 or something like that. So I guess that was a stage. The Don't Flop stuff was definitely good for the international scene. I started to get some recognition from the English crowd and stuff like that, but it still wasn't. In Australia at the time, I think the battle rap scene was in a bit of a decline, probably from 2013 till probably about the end of 2015, I think. So it had its good and its bad points back then, I think. And
I mean, this kind of era where you're battling, people like Nicotine and Case One. This is like your 15th, 16th battle now. You have battled a fair bit. Yeah. Like, what are your experiences at this point? Do you feel that you've kind of like experimented a little bit? You found what works for you, or?
I think I was still evolving back then. Like, originally, early on, my style was a fairly, I guess, what you'd call like a grind time style, like very joke heavy, not bars or anything like that. It was probably around about 2013, 2014 where I was a lot more aware of the international scene and the international standard, and I was trying to evolve as a battler and bring a lot more bars and stuff into it. So I think, probably 2014 was a year that I was getting a lot more recognition from rappers as such, not just, Australian fans. So, yeah.
And, one of the kind of huge steps it was taken to take sort of a big international from Don't Flop. In this case, the man Harry Baker.
But they tell me he's staunch with the poetry, thinks his words are weapons. But in reality, that ain't quite true. Look, I can't say that I knew of any time I've been at the pub having a quiet pint or two of nice booze, see some nerdy hipster looking cunt out the corner of my eye who's staring me down and acting the right douche. So I cruise outside to try and move time moves, thinking I'm about to fight soon, but get grabbed on the shoulder by one of the boys in my crew like, Dunners, don't do it, man. Think your daughter and your wife, dude. I want to see you get hurt, bro. What if the cunt drops a haiku?
Awesome to see you guys battling. I'm a huge fan of Harry's. I've had him on the show.
He's awesome, bro. Really nice dude, and I love his style as well. Great battler.
Yeah. I mean, how was this? This is a genius matchup. How was this concocted?
I'm not exactly sure. It was Codex who ran Amped Up Battle League, which have kind of evolved into Don't Flop Australia. He runs Don't Flop Australia as well. He'd come down to Tasmania, my hometown, and put on a few events. I hadn't battled at them, but I'd helped host and stuff like that. So we'd been in contact. I think it was in like a couple of months before that, I had done a battle in Tassie for Amped Up against a guy called Big Cos. Not a massive battle or anything like that. But it was just through that the Codex had said, I'm real keen to get you in international, because that's the thing. I kind of, over the years, I'd had a few opportunities to nearly get an international, and they just always fell through. So, and around about the end of 2015, like my daughter was born in 2015, so I was reassessing whether I was going to continue battle rapping. Like I wasn't getting major stuff out of it. Like I wasn't. So at the time, I was kind of thinking maybe I have like one or two battles left in me. I'll try and get an international if I can. And then Codex hit me up about it with Harry Baker, and I just thought, no, this is a fucking really cool battle. I'd heard of Harry, and I was a fan. So yeah, I took it on, and I was stoked with it, man. It was a great style clash, I think. Like both of us brought our own original style to it, but it matched together really well to a quite entertaining battle, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think likewise, Harry had never faced someone like you. You'd never faced someone like he, and it just kind of, there were these kind of sparks flying. And it was just a great showing for both of you, really. It's kind of everything you want from one of these things, where a battler goes over and really kind of shows out his own way, and there can be this sort of.
That's it, and it was a good look for Australia, because we had the couple of years before that, we had a bit of a history of international guys coming over like for a free holiday, and they'd pretty much phone in their battle and do an average battle, whereas Harry actually really stepped up and brought a great performance. So I think it was a really good look.
A lot of horse bars in your first.
Yeah. I think I mainly just had that. I had that one line there. If I came to get the show jumping, I'm playing sets again. If he came to get the show jumping, he's talking about a question.
Yeah.
That line came to me, and I built the majority of the verse around that. Like, there's a bit at the start about, as becoming a father and how things had changed since the last time I came to Melbourne. But, majority of the first was just kind of the jokes, the horse shit. I think I went into the poetry stuff as well.
Yeah, the man from Stone River, you call him.
The Man from Snowy River, which is
like
a iconic, famous Australian poem about a horse wrangler or something like that. So it's quite a famous poem in Australia. So
I love that reference. Like, I can't say I got it straight away, but that is a nice reference. That is really good. And the whole thing works very, very well here. Freak English Seabiscuit looking gentleman. Just kind of a funny situation as well about the bar fight and the poet not dropping a haiku and stuff.
Oh, that's right, the haiku one. Yep.
There was it is really great stuff. Like, really, really kind of funny stuff, and the crowd are excellent as well. And
the crowd was cooking that day. The fucking really good crowd to perform in front of, which the Melbourne crowd always is. They're always receptive to whoever's in front of them. They're probably one of my favourite crowds to battle in front of is Melbourne.
And you kind of had the horse stuff in the first. The second is more of kind of like a teeth/hipster vibe.
Yeah, I can't remember how I came up with it, but the second wasn't like, I don't think I went for particular angles. I just kind of, whatever came to me, I wrote down, and what flowed together, I put it together. And I kind of came out of the hipster stuff with some of that, the Australian wildlife fucking angle, which I have used a few times now. So, but I guess that was the kind of beginning of it. I'm trying to think what other bars I had in that.
Yeah,
there is a bar I love in the second verse, which is one of the fucking realest bars I ever spit about, you thought I underestimate him and I'd sleep on this prick, bro. I got a 6-month-old daughter. I ain't sleeping for shit. Right. Because the week of that battle, my daughter would not, like, if anyone's got kids, what it's like. She was just up the whole time. So I was like running on fumes. I was so tired. And when I spit that bar, you can see in my eyes how fucking real that bar is.
You mentioned O'Shea as you kind of mentioned him earlier.
Yep.
Fuck taking a shit on a shark. I'll punch the cunt in the face.
Yeah, Mick Fanning, bro.
Yeah,
fucking Aussie legend.
Dangers of the open seas, but good shit. I mean, you versus O'Shea, Dundee. That battle has to happen soon, surely.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of, I think because I did battle Innuendo when I was over in Don't Flop. Yeah. It'd be nice to probably go someone else before I go O'Shea, but that would be an absolute dream, man. Like, O'Shea is, without a doubt, like one of my favourite battle rappers ever. I love the dude. He's absolutely awesome. And an absolute top bloke as well. Like, I met him when I was over there. Fucking absolute gentleman. O'Shea's a G.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, so who else then? Is there any wish list for you of Don't Flop people you'd like to battle?
I don't know if there's a wish list as such. Generally, I don't have like a hit list or anything, because I generally have faith in the leagues booking me. Like when I first thought about Innuendo, like, he's not someone I would have instantly said that I wanted to battle, but in the end it was the perfect opponent for me. So I just leave my faith in the leagues these days. I know there's been a few suggestions. People have said Bobby Rex, which I think would be a really good matchup. Some people have said Shocks. Would be a fucking monster battle. Shocks is just
that'd be great,
unbelievable. Yeah. So I'd really have to step up to that one. But at the same time, I'm open, bro. Whatever they throw at me.
Oh, no, good to hear, man. And not too long after this, a few months after this, you battled Dunks as part of the Real Talk Battle League again, the May Day event. I mean, quite established at this point, obviously, for quite a while now in the Australian scene. This must have been great to just sort of face off, after the Harry battle, just to sort of show what it's about.
Yeah, that's it, man. It was, and that was in Adelaide. That was Real Talk Adelaide. So it's kind of an offshoot. Real Talk, the original Real Talk's based in Brisbane. And it ended up, it was my first battle in Adelaide. I'd had a bunch of times where I was meant to battle in Adelaide before that, and it just fell through. I think in my opening lines I say about it because a dude called Plans was another Australian battler who had a bit of success back in the day, but he was running this league. At the time, he was like pretty fucked up on drugs. I was meant to battle in Adelaide, and 2 days before the event, he rang me and said he'd spent all the money and didn't have anything, and I was just like, oh, fuck. So by the time I actually got to Adelaide, it had been quite a big build-up for it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely good to see you out there in this new territory, and that is a good battle. One rounder, wasn't it?
Just the one rounder for that one. I think by that time I had the shuffle battle booked, so I didn't want to take too much on. But in the end, I ended up riding probably as much that I would have spat in 3 rounds. It was like a fucking 8-minute round or something in the end.
Yeah.
But, it was a good battle. I thought Dunk's bought some real good shit. Dunk's is quite an established head in Australia. He's battled a lot of internationals and stuff like that. So it was a matchup that people wanted to see from Australia, I think.
And, doing a sort of one-rounder, was that better for you? Did you prefer to sort of flow it naturally? Was it a matter of just cutting up 3 rounds together, or...?
No, I think for that one, it just worked really well. The way I was riding with it, everything flowed into each other. I don't think it would have worked as well as a 3-rounder. It just kind of wrote itself in the end. I ended up fucking cutting about an extra 2 minutes of material, so I would have written about 10 minutes worth of material for it in the end, I think.
Mm-hmm. And, now, I mentioned phase 2 before, you said 2012, that sort of 2014 gestation period, getting into the higher gears. Ultimately, we've now reached kind of God tier Dundee with Shuffle T, I think, in sense of like you getting just the big, the big opponents and the huge matchups and stuff like this.
You think you're the real pretty boy of battle rap? Bro, in your fucking dreams. Why don't you have another geese? Can I'm such an utter beast that once I leave the stage tonight, the females will all flood to me. Them sluts will be 100 deep just begging for my company. So when you go home alone to your hotel and beat your fucking meat, that'll be the only time tonight that you'll be touching D.
Getting given someone like Shuffle, obviously at this time, very recently, this was September 2016, this battle went down. The guy is a legend in my eyes. One of the best ever, no doubt. Incredible good guy.
An absolute innovator that has changed the game of battle rap. You know what I mean? It was kind of. At first, I guess it was daunting because I was such a big fan of his stuff. I was like, how do I diss this dude out when I've got so much respect for him? And I think because the battle ended up happening, it was July when the battle happened. I don't think it dropped till about September.
Sure.
But the one he'd done before that was his Heretic battle. And I usually go into battles like trying to watch my opponent's battles and kind of pick it apart and go, I didn't like that. Then, I watched that battle and I was just like, that was fucking incredible. How do I pick this dude apart? And eventually I just got in the right mind state for it and started riding. And, it was absolute killer battle. Shuffle was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, great to have him over there, wasn't it? Like, awesome to see him make trip.
Really nice dude as well. Like, fucking Adam is an absolute legend. We fucking hit it off straight away. So,
yeah. I can only imagine, his kind of hijinks in Australia. They would have made some great fly on the wall stuff. But, did you kind of prepare differently? What is your preparation schedule? Do you kind of write your rounds, rehearse wildly? Do you write up to the final day, or?
I try to get it all written. Probably at least the majority of it written at least 2 weeks out, and I always tell myself that. But I think every battle I've done in the last 3 years, I'm thinking of stuff the night before to add to it. So, but it was I knew that I couldn't just go in and try and out bar and out rap Shuffle because it doesn't work. He's so hilarious. So I knew I kind of needed to really bring some kind of original style jokes to it and make people laugh as well. So. Yeah, definitely expanded my ability, I guess, as a battle rapper. to go against Shuffle. It was something different.
And the battle was absolutely brilliant. Like, afterwards, you must have felt over the moon.
Oh, it was an incredible feeling, bro. I must say, I've never laughed that much in a battle. Like, by the third round, I was kind of having to stop myself laughing at his bars because my fucking ribs were hurting. I was laughing that much. He's a hilarious dude. Like his opening round about all the shit with the airplane and incredible. So original as well. Like, I absolutely love his style. He kind of like, he is a kind of master of kind of creativity, and he went over to DUNN for Australia, and it's Shuffle on 100%. It really is. That's it.
Nothing diluted. Like, it's as good as he's ever been over there. And everyone recognised this battle. Everyone knew Shuffle at this point. He's 2v2 champion, all that good stuff. He was known for this sort of stuff, but in the kind of more international eye, perhaps because of the Shuffle endorsement here, because it's got like 70,000 views, people cotton on, wanted to get you involved in other things. We get to World Dom now against Realistic.
Shit, we catch him on the fly before he even landed on the runway, clip his wings, and leave the eagle in a box like a gun safe. You ain't a killer. You just playing a role. So for the set you claim, I get this actor dropped, because the only time that real's getting too real is when the camera's on. Plus, I name myself Dundee. And shit, you probably seen a movie that I grabbed it off. So what, Dundee catching these hands? Well, that's a fucking massive crock.
Which was, a huge shot for you. Kind of, don't flop, King of the Dot at these events, your World Doms, your Blackouts especially, they'll put one or two battles on the start of each day just to kick them off with kind of, maybe someone that hasn't been on King of the Dot before, maybe just to kind of test out an international sort of thing. And, in this case, you got Realistic for this slot and you shined in it. How did this come together?
So it was, it only ended up being about 3.5 weeks, I think, by the time I found out about it and it was confirmed. It was just after I did the Shuffle T battle. It hadn't come out yet, but an organic hit me up to get me over, and I was keen as. So, it was an interesting matchup. Like, going into it, like, Realistic had been talking it up a lot in Talkback, the King of the Dot forum. Basically saying that I hadn't battled someone like him before, and he was pretty much just going to bully me for 3 rounds. But little did he know this ain't my fucking first rodeo. So it didn't bother me, you know what I mean? Like, I've been going around Australia for years, like, riding solo, going into other people's cities and battling. And to me, it's like, what's the worst that could happen? You could get fucking punched in the head, and that's happened to me plenty of times before, so it's no drama, like, fucking. So I just held my own. A lot of that battle was just the mind state I had to have for it. There wasn't too much I could go off Realistic style. Like, there's not a lot about his style that really stands out that's solely him. So I guess a lot of my prep was more what he represented, the style of rapper he was. And I think it was in just doing the mic check just before the cameras were actually rolling, and I accidentally said cunt in my mic check, and the crowd thought it was fucking hilarious, and I was like, well, yeah, this is going to be easy then if I can cunt. I do say that a lot.
And this is, it's a huge stage. This is the whole sort of the operation of King of the Dot, the red lighting, gullies there, like, just all the little
crazy. I've been watching the Dot for fucking years, man. I'm a massive fan, and to hear Organic say, introduce yourself was just, it was incredible. It's something that I'll always remember. And even the mission that it took me to get there, I'm not sure if people kept up with it, but I flew to LA and then was meant to be flying to Toronto. I was meant to have a 2-hour stopover in LA. Ended up getting delayed for, I think, 15 hours in the end. I was stuck in LA airport, not knowing if I was going to make it. Finally got on a plane to Toronto. Just before I got on the plane, the airline people came up to me and told me that they'd lost my luggage. It was somewhere in Chicago and they couldn't find it. So I got to Canada, went and bought a change of clothes for the battle, checked into my hotel, chilled for about half an hour, and literally had to go to the battle, and then I was first battle on. So it was a fucking crazy experience to actually get there,
Definitely. And the sort of reception you got from this battle was fantastic, though. King of the Dot crowds can be quite notoriously quiet, and quite,
Yeah.
you know, unresponsive to foreigners to a certain extent as well. But here, man, you know, they lapped it up, like you say, they laughed at cunt, so they're going to love you.
Yep. Yeah, that's it, man. It was, and I wasn't too sure going into it, like, you know, my style is probably not as well suited to King of the Dotters, say, like the don't flop shit, as I said. So I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I tried to incorporate a bit more of a bar heavy approach for it, but it just worked. And I think someone said in a review of it that, like, I don't sell bars, I kind of sell my personality, my character. And I think I definitely believe that to an extent. Like, the delivery that I do and shit, you know, it's getting people warm to the fucking, you know, the Dundee character and what I'm doing.
And obviously you haven't gone back yet, but I imagine you are eventually going to make the trek back to King of the Dot.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. From all accounts last year, I'm hearing that I should be coming back, so we'll just wait and see, bro. Like, I've got a few things in the pipeline at the moment, so we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame the bunker isn't around anymore, because your style would have just made like classic. Man.
Yeah, bro. I would have loved to battle at the bunker. Rest in peace, the bunker.
Yeah,
but,
I think there's sort of a Mark II one coming back soon, but I mean the original, no, is sorely missed, definitely. But, you know, it wasn't too long before, you know, you were overseas yet again. This is coming to Don't Flop. Obviously, I had you on the show prior, as I mentioned, with Innuendo, and we built up to this.
You're a fucking sleazebag, cunt. I don't care what you try to say, mate. What's your idea of romance? Taking a girl on a blind date rape? See, that's why normal women ain't want to fuck you unless they get a nice pay rate. These bitches the one with his baby D like Day-Day.
This was just a great sort of occasion, wasn't it? It was a sense of, like, the announcement being great, you guys clowning each other being great, you guys coming on the show was awesome, your battle was good. Like,
we had,
you know,
a great back and forth leading up to it as well. So I think it really sold the battle that people wanted to see it as well. So
yeah, it was like fantastic showings from both of you. Like, talk me through this battle then. Like, obviously, being a big fan of Don't Flop, you were looking to get over here at one point.
Yeah, so I guess it was like because I got to England, I got to Manchester on the Wednesday, and my battle wasn't till the Sunday. And I gave Raptor, I'd been talking to him on the internet a little bit, and I just gave him a call to, like, hook up a bit of weed. And that call ended up turning into like a 6-day bender. So by the time Sunday rolled around, I was fucking cooked out of my brain, bro. Like, I'd been up for days, man. But it somehow worked to my advantage. I think, like, I just used the energy that I had, and fucking, it was real good. I think I started with leading up to the battle before I came over. There was something to do with Innuendo, as he does. He made a joke about fucking some joke to do. It wasn't like a pedophilia joke, but he's, you know, something to do with that. And I had people, like, inboxing me about it and shit like that. Like, and I knew it was just, you know, I knew it was just a joke, but I knew also that if I mentioned it, the crowd would rock with it. So that was the majority of my first verse was pretty much, you're a nonce.
Right.
Well, you're not actually a nonce, but you're a fucking sleazy cunt. And that was pretty much my angle for the whole verse. I didn't, like, do the whole, you know, what's good, don't flop, it's Dundee. I just went straight at him, and it worked out well.
Yeah, very well. I mean, what was this, your first time in England?
Yeah, first time in England, bro. Like, that's the international. I've been to, you know, like Thailand and Bali before, which are quite close to Australia, like Asian countries for holidays. But yeah, like Canada and UK is really, you know, first time of me seeing the world properly.
Yeah, did you experience much of it? I appreciate it was in Leeds, so you didn't sort of get to the capital, but did you see?
Well, yeah, it was like, literally, it was fucking partying with Raptor for fucking 6 days, which, if you've ever partied with Raptor before, you know that cunt goes fucking hard as. So I had all these I was going to go down to London and check some shit out, and we ended up just chilling up in Manchester the whole time. You know, we up the studio and recorded a track with up there, and
right.
I was just hanging out with his boys and shit. Then we rolled into Leeds together. So by the time I actually got to Leeds and the battles were kicking off, I was pretty much one of the Manchester crew. Like, they'd already fucking claimed me. So it was a good feeling, man.
That's good to hear, man. Yeah, and the battle was received, very, very well as well when it came out. It needs a bit more views, actually. It's got 26k, which isn't bad, but, I think that...
No, it was a great battle, and I think probably Innuendo's best performance. He absolutely killed it. I think it's very much a debatable battle. I loved his angles in it. I loved his fucking comedy, his mix of bars and shit like that. So... yeah, definitely one of my favourite battles that I've done, like, to watch back. It's a really entertaining battle.
Yeah, certainly. And, going from strength to strength, really, we spoke about this, I think, on our show prior, but, you had got a battle to battle Head Ice, which is, his name couldn't be hotter than ever, really, at this point in time, and you get to battle him. Like, what did you think when you were told this was going to go down?
It was quite fucking daunting, to tell the truth, when I first... Like, it was exciting, but it was very daunting. Ice was one of the dudes that I met, in Canada. He was one of the first people to come up to me after my battle and give me props, and I was fanboying the fuck out. I'm a massive fan of Head Ice. So I was trying to play it cool, but in my mind, I was fanboying the fuck out when I met Head Ice. So it wasn't too long after I got back from Canada that Real Talk hit me up and said, "Do you want to battle Head Ice?" And I went, "Oh, fuck. Of course I want to battle him." But I was like, what the situation I had with Shuffle, like, I respect this dude, so what do I say bad about him? And it took me a couple of weeks of just, before even I penned anything, like, of really getting into the mind state of it. And all I could kind of do was do exactly what I normally do. Treat him like, not treat him like he's a 6'5" huge cunt. I just treated him like any other dude that I would, and I just got in his face and did my thing. It was an incredible battle. Like, for the international crowd, I'll point out as well, just to fucking so you catch a lot more of my references. In Australia, methamphetamine is ice. We call it ice in Australia, and it's like a fucking epidemic over here. It's like it's on some like crack in New York in the 80s shit. So a vast majority of my bars are ice flip about meth, because people know all about that over here.
Yeah. There was a documentary on BBC Three over here with Reggie Yates all about ice in Australia. It was pretty harrowing, actually.
It is. It's a fucking epidemic here, man. Like, I've got, mates I grew up with and shit that it's really affected. It's a fucking evil drug. And the thing is, it's become such a normality over here that everyone knows about it. From, you don't have to be involved in hip hop or street culture or anything like that. Ice is fucking everywhere. It's a scourge on the fucking land.
Yeah.
But like, one of the biggest bars I had in my first verse was the look out. What was it? You ain't in Kansas anymore, Toto. You're in the land of dog shots and death punches, which a dog shot in Australia is when your king hits someone. And then it was, watch how quick I get my mug in the newspaper if you're showing disrespect, brother. Front page, hit the ice, fucked him up. Ben Cousins. Now, Ben Cousins was like AFL, which I was talking about before, Aussie Rules Football, was like the star, like the biggest sports star in Australia some years back. He won like what we call the Premiership, which is kind of like the FA Cup, I suppose. He was a massive sports star who ended up getting hooked on ice, and then you just started seeing his face in the newspaper regularly because he'd get arrested because he was on ice benders and just fucking up constantly. So that's a bit of a reference for that bar.
Yeah, I mean, the battle is full of them, but in kind of creative ways. They're exhibited well. Like, it's got almost 70,000 views as well, similar to the Shuffle, so it's getting a lot of recognition as well.
Yep.
You must feel quite satisfied in yourself, man, because you've been battling a long while now, in a certain sense, but it's really, the success is shining through.
Yeah, it's amazing, bro. Like, I never really thought it would happen like this. I'd kind of, as I said, around like 2015, I'd kind of resigned myself to the fact that, shit wasn't going to pop off, and maybe I'd do one or two more battles, and that'd be it. I'd hang the boots up. And then it just snowballed. I think it was the Harry Baker battle, and from them it just snowballed to be, to a couple months back, I just battled Head Ice, who became the fucking King of the Dot champion. So, yeah, never in fucking a million years would I think what's happened is that, I'm off to South Africa in a couple of weeks to battle on Scrambles for money. I never thought I'd go to fucking Africa because of rapping. So it's crazy. I'm from a fucking small town, bro. Like, I try to keep myself pretty humble and shit. So it's all It's all very fucking surreal.
And who are you battling on scrambles?
Okay, it's kind of I guess a blackout style event.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a free event. So I can't say too much yet, but I will say I'm real happy with my opponent. He's not really well known on the international scene as such. He's more of an up and comer over there. But I think he's got really good skills, and I think we're going to turn it into a real good battle. So I'm real pumped for it, bro.
Excellent. And are there any other battles announced on the horizon, or?
Nothing yet. It's all I'm talking with different leagues and shit at the moment. So I reckon there'll be maybe one more battle in Australia this year for me, and the rest of the year I'm just keeping open to see what happens internationally. I want to keep traveling and do what I can do. I'm getting a bit old now, so I figure make the most of it for the next couple of years or two. Strike while the iron's hot, and then see what happens.
All right, man. Well, we'll close it with a few quick fire questions here. The first one being actually, what's your favourite Australian battle? What's an Australian battle you'd recommend people to watch?
100%. I would recommend people to watch Man Is Ill versus BK Ultra. That happened at the same event as me and Shuffle T, and absolutely incredible battle. Both guys had crazy bars. They were flipping everything. I think that is the standard for Australian battles. That battle, absolutely killer battle. Manazil versus BK Ultra.
Interesting. Okay. You and Manaz, would that ever happen, or?
It's a tough one, bro. Like it's been talked about for a lot of years, but like Manaz is my bro. That's one of my best mates, man. So I don't know. It doesn't interest me. It doesn't really interest him. You know, I'm fucking, as I said, I'm getting old now, so I don't like, you know, and what you do when you battle someone, you've got to obsess about someone for a month and think of bad things to say about them.
Right.
And like, that's my brother, so it doesn't really interest me. So me and Manners have talked about it, and we were like, fuck it, we'd rather do a 2-on-2 battle. So that's something we're hoping to happen sometime, probably in the next 12 months, if we can get it popping. We'd love to do a 2-on-2, and trust me, we would kill motherfuckers, me and Manners. We would absolutely kill motherfuckers. Doesn't matter who it is.
What about your favourite Don't Flop battle?
Favourite Don't Flop battle? Fuck, so many. I love Calcium Kid versus O'Shea is definitely one of my favourite. That is an absolute classic battle. Soul versus Shocks was a fucking corker. I love that battle. It's hard to say because, you know, if things kind of date as you watch them years later. But I mean, O'Shea versus Dirtbag Dan was one of my favourite battles back in the day. That definitely inspired me a lot. I used to watch a lot of Definition's old stuff. Some of the ones Def did back in the day. Him versus like Holly Holster, him bodying that dude Razel. Like I love that shit. So yeah, too many to name with Don't Flop. I'm definitely a big fan of Don't Flop.
What about King of the Dot?
Fucking hard one to say. Favorite King of the Dot battle. I would say, like, off the top of my head, like, you know, obviously I saw it in the flesh, but Peanut versus Shoddy P was an incredible battle to watch. They were just both going back and forth at each other the whole time. That was a great battle. Yeah,
good choice. What about URL?
URL? I've got a few different ones for URL. I'd say there's like my battles in URL that I like are not necessarily like classic back and forths, but they've got good verses that I like in them from certain people. Probably the battle that really got me into URL was Calico versus K-Shine. I absolutely love Calico's first and third rounds in that. They're still some of my favourite verses in battle rap to date. I like, you know, Loaded Lux versus Calico, another great one. Another random one I love. It's not like a great battle to watch back, and it's mainly to do with one round in it. But John the Don versus Bill Collector. Bill Collector's first round in that battle is one of my favourite fucking verses ever in battle rap. Because the thing I love about Bill Collector, he doesn't usually bring like 3 rounds of good shit. He brings like a round or 2 rounds and then kind of an average round. But he's the king of like, in that first round, like John outbars the fuck out of him. And And Bill Collector, his delivery and his presence, it's not his bars, it's his delivery and his presence fucking kills that shit, and he murks that round. So that's one of my favourite rounds.
Yeah, great shout. What about non-battle rap related? Your favourite film, Dundee?
Favourite film would be, there's a few, maybe like Blood In, Blood Out. Is definitely a favourite. Friday, just for being fucking a teenage stoner growing up with that shit. I love like Guy Ritchie films, Lock, Stock, Snatch. City of God is another fucking film of mine. I'm a bit of a film buff, bro, so there's fucking heaps I can
Yeah. And finally, your favourite band or artist that are in no way hip-hop related?
I'm gonna go with like Pantera, bro.
Oh shit, nice.
Yeah, man. Like I do hip hop, and I'm a rapper and stuff like that. But growing up, at my high school, like hip hop wasn't big, so I was into hip hop, and people used to give me shit for it. But like all my mates were into like metal music and punk music, so a lot of my teenage years was spent in lounge rooms smoking bongs while all my mates fucking headbanged to like Sepultura or Pantera. Right. So, and like growing up, my brother was in punk bands and shit like that. So yeah, I love all genres of music, but I'm definitely a big metalhead. I still, before I battles, my kind of ritual is I'll put on either like some Pantera or some Sepultura, like if I'm in the hotel room or whatever, and crank that shit as loud as I can and just fucking pace around the hotel room, just getting up over it.
That's good, man. Yeah, nice. Surprising choice there, but definitely a good one. Finally, how do people get at you? Social media, Twitter, that sort of stuff?
Facebook.com, Dundee Music is my main page. I'm Mick Dundee Heath on Facebook. Twitter is @MC Dundee. Instagram's Dun Farkind, FARKIND. I'm pretty easy to access, like I've got a family and a job and shit, so I don't always write back straight away, but I try to get back to everyone, so
yeah. All right, man. Well, this has been great, Dundee. I mean, halfway across the world, I think there's like 12 hours separating us in time difference or whatever, but it's been awesome to finally have you on the show, man.
Absolute pleasure, bro. I thank you very much for it, homie.